Welcome to the Natural History Cupboard. Come on in.
And welcome back to the Natural History Cupboard podcast, the place where the weird and wonderful parts of the natural world come together. I'm your host, Gareth, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Aaron. Aaron, what have you been up to?
This week I've been, lamenting the clouds because I've been quite interested in trying to catch some of the cosmic natural history going on around us.
Right, I was going to say, we are very blessed with clouds here.
It's extremely cloudy this week, and it's a shame because the night we're recording it on today, is the peak day for the Taurid meteor shower, and it's looking like I'm not going to get to see any of that.
I would say not.
I'm knackered anyway. I'm going to fall asleep as soon as we finish recording. I'm not even sure I'm going to make it out to back to the home.
It's only 2 doors away.
But late last week, I think it was Thursday or Friday, I've got an app, Aurora Watch.
Yeah.
And it pinged with a red alert for seeing aurora, so Amber Alert it will show you. Amber Alert will say something like the aurora can be sighted through most of the UK, but because it's Amber Alert, you need like a camera or something to see it. Red Alert is most of the UK, but you can see it with your own eyes.
Nice.
But it was way too cloudy. I did look, and it was way too cloudy.
I might have to get that one.
It's good. I'll show you it at the end. And actually, do you know what? I'll put a little thing in the corner so if anyone's interested. But the other stuff I've done is just the general looking around for let's see if there's still fish in the river. I haven't seen any. I have seen a few kite and buzzards above the house, which has been nice. But yeah, other than that, not a great deal this week. As you know, it was my daughter's birthday, so we've been preparing.
That's a fair enough reason.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I've had fun. I've had a middle ear infection for most of the week, so I've not been able to hear out of this side of my head for a good chunk of the week. Still not completely clear. So yeah, you're a little muffled.
No.
But that's been fun. But other than that, I've had one delivery is supposed to be turning up tomorrow, and one turned up last week of 2 just random purchases that I made of cuddly toys for my children. One is a giant squid, because everyone should have a giant squid. I feel it should just be the obvious one. And from the rather interesting photos that we've looked at on Amazon describing it, everyone should definitely have a giant squid, because apparently it's the thing to give a small child.
Yeah, some of the photos that you showed me here are hilarious.
And the other one is a coelacanth cuddly toy, because I saw it and I thought, when do you see a coelacanth as a cuddly toy? Yeah. So that's quite cool, and he's got a bit of a gapy mouth sort of thing, so he looks a bit weird.
I think it actually looks quite a bit like some of the depictions that you see, the paleo depictions you see of them.
I think that's kind of what it's based off to an extent, but yeah, they're quite cool. Other than that, we've had some of the weaver nests from work. I've taken one of those because we had to take a bunch of them down. For anyone who's unsure of what a weaver is, it's a species of bird. In fact, the family that they belong to, Poaceae, they basically, that's how they attract mates. They build the ideal perfect nest, and if the females aren't happy, they basically move on and go do it again, and they'll start again and build a brand new nest. And to stop the aviaries filling up with these things, is every now and again we have to take them out. And so but I'll have put this picture up or this video up. Just brought one of them home, and it's a really, really gorgeous piece of work. It looks amazing for what they are. Just a pile of grass, effectively. But they are made by those birds, just with their beaks alone, just making the grass into these intricate little shapes. And I was going to give it to my son to take in on his next sort of show and tell day, so he can show people about weaver birds. So yeah, it's been pretty much it. I don't think there's been much else that I've had going on. Nope, that's been pretty much it.
Question, because just for people listening, like in zoos, we have to do a lot of a similar job where we have to undo the hard work of an animal that we're looking after.
Yeah.
And I know people worry about that, but just because you're actually living that experience right in this second, that doesn't affect their
No. It's the end of
behavior
their
at all, does
breeding.
it?
It's the end of their breeding season anyway.
So they're no
So
longer need
they
it.
don't need it, and there weren't any chicks or eggs in those nests, and the aviary itself is being renovated. So next year, what will happen is a branch will be put in, and they get grass on a daily basis to make their nests with, and a variety of other plants that they can then strip and make the ideal bits from it. Because they don't just use grass; they'll use whatever's around them. So we give them millet as well.
Oh, yeah.
The millet sprays. And if you've put the millet spray in the wrong or the right place, the stalk on the millet is perfect, and they'll completely incorporate that into their nest. And you can't then take that out because you'll ruin the nest. So you have to just leave this millet spray in there that they've eaten all the seeds out of, but it's just in there for the rest of the season. It becomes incorporated into it. We made the joke that if they were of sort of evil intention, they could act as a flock and weave you into the mesh onto the wall, and you're stuck there, a bit like in Alien.
Yeah, that's good.
So you're just woven onto the wall by these birds. So yeah, they're really cool. They're really pretty birds.
Well.
Oh yeah. They just need that motivation. If their motivation changes from building the perfect house to can you take someone hostage, then you're gone. You got no chance.
And the changes the whole chest burster scene if it's a pretty little bird.
Oh, isn't it cute?
I forgot one thing I did do, which I think you and your family would enjoy. And I think a lot of our viewers and listeners would enjoy this, especially if you got young kids like Dan. The other week we went out to our local woods.
Yep.
And my partner said, right, we're going to open up iNaturalist, another app that I'll just stick in the corner there.
A brilliant one, yep.
And we are going to have a guess now on our way to the woods how many different species of fungus we can find.
Ooh.
She guessed 5, I guessed 4, little girl guessed 16. How many do you reckon we found in our little trek?
Over 16.
22.
Yeah.
22 species. I knew that there'd be lots out there, lots more than
and yet you went low.
Yes, because I didn't think we'd see them.
No, they're everywhere.
But no, it was really good fun, really eye-opening, and it was nice. We just trudging off the beaten track and everything. It
was a real fun guy.
It was, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, there you go, a little family fungus adventure.
Get out there and spot some fungus.
Don't touch any fungus, even if you're kind of knowledgeable about fungus. Probably best not to touch them unless you're like an absolute expert on them, because there's so many species that look like identical.
Yeah,
but one will be perfectly fine, and the other one
will kill you.
And it's like they look exactly the same. So yeah, be very careful around fungal growth. But yeah.
Should we go into the news?
Let's do it.
It's the news!
Right, well, we're into the news. Aaron, I believe you're starting us off. So what do we got?
Yes, I am.
You have to think about that.
So the first article on my list comes just from Atta, who had a Guardian article for us. And the headline is "First case of flesh-eating screwworm parasite confirmed in US." It's a bit of an older article now, but it's intriguing nonetheless. The United States Department of Health and Human Services has reported the first case of New World screwworm parasitizing a human near the end of August.
Wait, this isn't old RFK or with his brain-eating parasitic worm that he had.
He is a brain-eating parasitic worm.
He definitely had one. So this isn't. He's not been spreading them, has he?
Maybe he's patient 0. Yeah, there's definitely a screw worm who's
There's
controlled
a
his.
screw loose, but yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, the patient is believed to have travelled from El Salvador, though the beef industry claims the patient was actually travelling from Guatemala. Whatever the case, risk to public health remains low, but it is a seasonally kind of relevant article with regards to the recent Halloween period. Yeah.
Lovely. Well, we'll go from brain-eating parasite worms to flamingos on the run.
Hey.
On the fly, I suppose. So earlier this week, or the week before, actually, a flamingo escaped from Paradise Wildlife Sanctuary in Cornwall.
Oh, yeah.
And well, but they put out quite a bit of an appeal if anyone had spotted him. But where do you think he turned up?
Because you've already told me, so I can't answer that.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he's turned up in France, in Brittany, which is a good 200 miles away.
He's slowly heading down to one of the flocks that go down there, then.
I'm guessing so, but he's been spotted on the coast there. They've had so many different sightings that people had seen of him. I mean, these are birds that can fly extreme distances anyway, and I believe they're obviously trying to look to recapture him. One of the biggest problems he's probably going to face is just finding something to eat. Flamingos have quite a specialized diet, and this being a bird who's never lived out in the wild before, it's
he's going across France and southerly for Cornwall, France, southerly. You might end up in Sejourne. Do you know Sejourne African Reserve?
Well, you'd hope that
they
he'd
have
end
their
up,
own flamingo. That's a safari down there, like a drive-through kind of safari in the south of France. So they may as well get in contact with them and see.
I imagine they're probably working with French flamingo capturing experts. So this flamingo is a greater flamingo, which are found in areas of northern Africa, southern France, sort of.
That's right.
Yeah. So the park director, Nick Reynolds, said that there was a colony of greater flamingos in southern France, and the best case scenario for Frankie, who is the name of the flamingo, is that he actually ends up just flying down there and joining a wild colony and spending the rest of his days as a wild flamingo. So in a way, if they don't manage to find him or recapture him, hopefully he turns up with a group of wild flamingos and can just be a wild flamingo and have a very interesting story to tell of where he was born. There's a Disney film in the making there, I'm sure.
A bit like is it Blue?
Rio, yeah.
Rio, that's it, yeah.
Well, that's not Disney, but yeah, DreamWorks, that one.
It is DreamWorks, yeah. Speaking of animals on the loose, Jen Greenhalgh, one of our Patreon supporters, has sent in to us an article from Manchester Evening News, which headline is "Police spotted 3 wolves roaming streets in England town." The streets of Barton, Lancashire, have become the closest to a wolf reintroduction event that Britain has seen in the long fight to see our isles rewilded. But alas, whilst the police were investigating just what it is that they're looking at, and social media investigators, of course, are claiming them to be coyotes, it seems pretty clear from the images alone that they are a type of wolf dog. The article isn't updated, but to my knowledge, from what I've kind of ascertained from bits and pieces I've managed to pull together, I think they have been reunited with their owner, and it was just an innocent mistake as far as I'm aware.
They did look, I mean, the moment you see the footage of it, they're not moving at all like wild animals. You know, the car pulls up on them. I believe it's the police car that pulls up on them.
Yes,
and they're just 3 dogs standing there in a road.
I believe that some of these breeds are even starting to change their name. Like the Czech one is now called a Czech Vlach or something like that. But they are more. They are better described as a wolf-alike nowadays.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's where it is.
Well, there you go. So I've got some good news. I changed that from some bad news because I was going to do a bad news article, but I'm going to do some good news. Why not? We'll do the good news. Not? So from the BBC, back from the brink, UK red kites aid to their Spanish cousins. So the red kite is a bird that has basically been a real-life phoenix, I suppose, in some ways, in coming back in the UK. But they are now, doing so well that their numbers are helping to bolster the Spanish population of these birds, which has suffered a similar fate to Britain 30, 40 years ago. So British red kites are being flown out there at 6 months old to basically join the Spanish population, a little like a flamingo, I suppose, in some ways. 4 decades ago, the birds were extinct in England and Scotland, with just a few pairs left in Wales. But in the late 1980s and early 90s, red kites from Spain and Sweden were released into the Chilterns and Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire border. It's proven so successful that the species is now thriving across the UK with more than 6,000 mating pairs, or about 15% of the world population in the UK, which is significant. And because of that, it basically means that they are now being boxed up, or some of them are, under special license and being sent to Spain. So the region where they're being sent in Spain has less than 50 mating pairs, which is a lot less than 6,000. In 2022, conservation groups were granted special licenses to collect red kite chicks, mostly from Northamptonshire, and send them over to the Extremadura region of Spain.
I'm not familiar with that. Extremadura.
Yeah, Extremadura. And more than 120 chicks have been collected, with about 30 exported each year. So hopefully those British birds will add to the Spanish population, and their numbers will thrive once more. A really amazing bird that, if you ever get the chance to see them in the wild, the best places to see them are Gigrin Farm in South Wales or mid Wales, or just driving down the M4.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, we do have a couple over towards South Molton as well, actually.
And occasionally, if you're anywhere in the UK, there's a good chance you might see one at some point.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, really distinctive birds.
I think they're my favourite native bird.
Ooh, hard to say.
The white-tailed sea eagle is pretty close. Kingfisher's pretty close too.
I don't know.
Ravens. I love ravens.
See, you can't pick one.
No, too many good dinosaurs.
Yeah. British birds. Once you pop, you can't stop.
So my final headline comes to us from phys.org. It was sent in. All three of mine have been sent in by listeners or viewers. It was sent in from Spencer this time. And the headline is Rare intersex spider among new species discovered in Thailand. October saw reports of a new species of spider being discovered in Nong Rong Forest in Kanchanaburi, Thailand. Further study seems to suggest placement in the Demarcus family, which features Asian spiders that create essentially a wishbone-shaped burrow in the ground. The species has females that are nearly twice the size of its males, which is pretty...
That's not unusual
for spiders. And research even found I think this is pronounced as
gynandromorphic.
What did you say? Gynandromorphic.
Yeah,
gynandromorphic specimen, which is basically a spider in this case, but an organism that is literally one half male, one half female, split right down the middle.
Best example, lobsters.
Yes,
they're really amazing when that happens. They look like somebody's drawn a line down the center.
This is the same, and if I remember right, it's kind of half brown and half like this reddish color. But I'll stick a photo up either way so people can see it.
The final story, or the final one that I wanted to go over, it's more a case of I'm excited. It's coming up. It is almost time for the third series of Prehistoric Planet, but they're not looking at the Cretaceous this time.
Hey.
They are looking at the Pleistocene, which is not something that you build Wallace and Gromit out of. It's the Ice Age, basically. The trailer dropped for a couple of earlier this week, and it is an absolutely stunning looking trailer with some really notable species in it. So from what's already been announced and from what is floating around image-wise, it looks like they're going to do things like woolly rhinos, and mammoth, a couple of different species of saber-toothed and scimitar-toothed cats.
They've got an entire episode on
the saber-toothed. Nice. They're doing my favorite, Pleistocene Australis, because you can see a Thylacoleo jumping from a tree onto some Diprotodon. There's Procoptodon, the giant box-faced kangaroo.
Mhm.
There's the moa in there as
Yeah.
well, and the elephant bird as well. So they're
Yeah.
doing Madagascar. I'm guessing that's going to be like a islands sort of episode,
Yeah, I guess
focusing on
so.
all those different smaller habitats. There looks like there's going to be a lot of ground sloths. And have you
Yeah.
watched that little bit of footage they've released of the ground sloths playing in the snow?
I haven't seen that, no.
Oh, it's lovely. It just looks amazing. So yeah, it's and there's a megaloceros as well, the giant Irish elk, leaping across a river or a canyon or something like that in the footage. It just genuinely looks stunning, and it's nice to see not just the standard. Well, we're doing Ice Age, so that's mammoth, saber tooth, and cave bear. Well, in fact, not even cave bear. They don't tend to do cave bear. Woolly rhino. It's a bit more than that, and that opens the doorway to them doing maybe the Permian era or the Triassic, the Jurassic, all these different time periods that they could do in future
Yeah,
series.
I'm really excited about this one. This one looks great.
And I'm not even particularly upset that I think it's Tom Hiddleston doing the narration over Attenborough, because I don't think he's got a bad narration voice for it.
No. Also, if you want your Attenborough fix, he's got
He's got a new
coming out.
documentary coming out. Yeah. So yeah, that's coming out soon. It's the end of this month. I think it's like the 26th or something like that on Apple. So yeah, definitely worth a watch if you can.
Yeah. I'll definitely be taking up the free trial.
Just to get that. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the end of our headlines. As I've made you guys aware, my headlines came from three of our kind of listener viewership. So if you have ones that you want to send in to us that you think are worth discussing, send them on in. You can do that through any of the normal channels that we'll go through at the end of the episode. But we'll head on into the main article now, and that is from the BBC. And the headline is Wildcat Project looks for new backers due to Brexit.
The benefits just keep on coming.
Cue gritted teeth. So yes, as you've probably guessed from that introduction, it's your daily reminder that Brexit was an altogether bad idea. Along with other entries into the Brexit Greatest Hits album, like the 350 million to the NHS, among other things that we won't go into a rant over at this moment.
Who thought the leopards would eat their face when they voted for the face-eating leopard party?
What a stupid thing to do. Anyway, this time around, the victim of Britain's short-sighted voting habits is, of course, the Scottish wildcat, whom, due to no longer being able to pull from EU financial support, yes, by the way, the EU was always more interested in helping our native species than our own government is, and ever will be, is seeking alternative funding strategies to ensure that there is a future for Britain's last remaining wild felid. Saving wildcats is responsible for most, if not all, of the releases of true wildcats back into the Cairngorms, an effort that many level-headed and sensible people across England and Wales want to see kick-started across the rest of Britain.
Damn straight.
The last 3 years alone have seen no less than 46 of the cats introduced to the Highlands, and some of these have added to the population through healthy litters. This comes just 7 years after the species was declared functionally extinct, largely due to human intolerance and irresponsible cat ownership. The continued funding of the project is necessary to facilitate the ongoing breeding, tracking, monitoring, and of course veterinary care of the individuals, not to mention the housing required for their private breeding facility at the Highlands Wildlife Park, which is a site owned and run by the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland, who also own and run Edinburgh Zoo. So just so you know, another reason why good functional zoos are a good thing and a positive influence on conservation. And RZSS are also leading partners in the actual Saving Wildcats organisation itself. This is particularly important given that the DNA found in captive specimens is substantially cleaner than those already in the wild due to obviously not having bred with domestic cats. So, Gareth, this is something I've banged on about ad nauseum, I feel, over my career, and you've probably
Yeah.
heard me say it a lot. But I think all reputable, good, functional zoos in the UK should be jumping on the Saving Wildcats mission and making a bigger deal to the public about Scottish
Well,
wildcat plight.
it's interesting you mentioned this. I was literally talking about this to some of the other keepers the other day, and I think all zoos in the UK should have to have a population of Scottish wildcats.
I
If
agree.
you had every zoo in the UK mandated to basically have at least a pair, if
Hmm.
not a breeding pair, so having ones that are stored to be able to send off to other collections
Yeah,
and basically be a storehouse, and have that population focused on in the UK, whether it's an English, a Scottish, or a Welsh zoo, you would have such a population of them that it would counteract anything that's bad that's happening at the moment. Um, I think, but then it opens the door of okay, well, we're saving that British species, but what about say the red squirrel? Why isn't every collection in the UK got a collection of red squirrels or adders or it opens the door to well, what about this animal? What about that animal? But I think, yeah, we should definitely be doing far more to represent UK native species.
my not to go into full depth of my manifesto, but I even had a whole detailed kind of like I say manifesto on how there'd be some zoos that would be allowed to have pure Scottish wildcats
Mm,
off-site breeding with like kind of specialized very well hidden viewing opportunities for public and how other zoos such as two that we've both worked for could perhaps have the domestic slash
the
wildcat
hybrids.
hybrids
Yeah,
that they can use as educational kind of
definitely.
ambassadors that can you can see them on full display. Uh, I mean, not to not to be too judgmental, but when you've got charismatic mega cats like your lions at
Hmm.
one of the places we worked, leopards at another place that we worked at,
Yeah.
you really don't need to go and get other charismatic cats instead of like get Scottish wildcats.
Considering that all cats hide and are incredibly good at doing it,
Mm,
it doesn't matter whether it's a lion or a tiny little wildcat. You will find that people will still miss them,
yeah.
and walk past them. And so there's always going to be that issue. Or you definitely see a lion more. Not always.
No.
And I've found in my experience that of all the cats that are in some collections, people focus on things like the small ones
Mm,
because it looks like the cat that they have. So sandcats,
they can relate to it.
incredibly popular animal,
Mm.
and the amount of people who lose their mind over seeing. I mean, sandcats are nice. I like sandcats, but I would much rather see something like a Scottish wildcat.
When I and this supports you even more so because when I worked at the collection you worked at,
Hmm.
we had Asian fishing cats,
Yeah,
which
they look like a really
look kind
bulky
of like
tomcat.
yeah they kind of look a little again a much closer looking cat to the wildcat and people who were stuck to them
Yeah,
I found yeah I just think every zoo in the UK should have something Scottish wildcat in there
yeah,
especially the ones like I say like the two that we both worked at who have like the charismatic mega cats. There is definitely space to have opted for Scottish Wildcat instead of another charismatic cat.
definitely. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so I also, furthermore, I actually believe like with the right marketing, like the Highland tiger could be just as popular as any other species of anything, let
Oh,
alone
yeah,
cat, really, because they're ours.
yeah.
They are ours. We like to take
Well,
pride
in
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 what's
a
ours.
in a time when you got people nailing flags to lampposts so much so that it blocks Christmas decorations going up,
Mm,
we should be incredibly patriotic about our wildlife. Although we know it's not real patriotism;
no, it's not
it's faux
because
patriotism.
I guarantee none of them were supporting the UK Team Britain in the basketball, the Euro basket. None of them would have been.
It's called the Eurobasket.
I know, but as Team Britain,
No, no, no.
they should have
Sorry,
been.
it's I didn't even know that was on.
No. Well,
The Euro basket. It just sounds like sorry. It just sounds like a shopping basket. So I'm picturing is just this basket with some stars on it.
they Britain did. I mean, they lost because they're
It's
Britain.
not
But
really our
right
game.
for a start, they should have. They did okay to make it a little bit more British. They didn't. They're not supporting the women's rugby that's been on
Yeah,
this year.
yeah,
It's such. I mean, we've now strayed
yeah.
off of Scottish Wildcats and into kind of politics. But yeah, if like, what better way to show your patriotism than to get behind
A British
Raven
animal. Yeah,
Wildcats?
they definitely. Well, sorry, Eurobasket. Just sounds hilarious. Let's go into our creature feature, shall we?
It's the creature feature.
Right. So this week, Aaron, I want to talk about a species of spider, and specifically an Australian species of spider.
Okay.
Now, if I was to ask you to name, say, 3 species of Australian spider, one of them can be the subject of this week's creature feature because you know what it is.
Okay. That.
What would you
Then.
pick as the three most iconic Australian spiders?
I think the most iconic one is the Huntsman,
Yep.
but that's my opinion.
No, yeah.
But do you know what? I'm not entirely sure if I can name a third. I probably can. It's probably there, but I can't think of it.
No?
No.
Well, I would go with the 3 most iconic, the redback spider, which is Australia's much cooler and much better answer than the black widow. Also more venomous.
Of course,
Just
Black Widow.
Yeah, black widows are American.
Are they?
Yeah. They're in the same family
I
of
don't know.
Latrodectes. Anyway,
I'm so bad with spiders.
the redback, much cooler, has a cricket team named after it. If there are any redbacks fans out there, let us know. The huntsman, which is it's that big spider that everyone freaks out about and is probably the least dangerous spider, although has caused car accidents in the past when they've fallen down from the sun visor.
Oh yeah.
And the third one, which you didn't name, but that's fine, because you obviously know what it is the funnel web spider. The Sydney funnel web spider is probably the most potentially venomous one out of those 3. Although redbacks, yet again, are also incredibly venomous, but not very aggressive.
So those kids that pick up blue ring octopus when they go to the beach, they're the same kids that they'll go and pick up funnel webs. And
I mean, I wouldn't pick up a funnel web. That's a really bad idea. Anyway, so we're doing the Sydney funnel web specifically this week. And I want to start off because we haven't done this for a while. We haven't looked at it from the animal's point of view. So we're going to start off through the eyes. They're very, very bad eyes, actually. In fact, more akin to my eyes than than any other, because my vision is probably just as good as a male Sydney funnel web. We're going to start off. The night air hangs thick, and the scent of damp eucalyptus leaves fills the air. A faint drizzle trickles through the leaf litter as a male Sydney funnel web stirs beneath a decaying log. Now, for 4 long years, he's grown in his little silken tunnel from a pinhead-sized spiderling into the glossy jet black adult with fangs powerful enough to pierce a fingernail.
A human fingernail.
Oh yes, these are big fangs.
That's cool.
Now, as summer's humidity thickens the air, the instinct awakens in him. It's time to find a mate. This is by far one of the most dangerous points for a male spider in his entire life. Now, leaving the safety of his burrow, he moves across the forest floor. His 8 legs navigate the fallen bark, soil, and stones. Guided by faint pheromone trails, he roams through backyards, drains, and garden beds. Hours later, exhausted, thirsty, and looking for shelter, he finds a dark, hollow shoe left outside a suburban door. A perfect refuge for him from the sun, which will soon start to rise. As morning comes, a hand reaches down. The shoe tilts. His entire world goes completely upside down on itself. Daylight floods in, followed by a human scream and a flurry of motion. The spider is tossed aside, landing safely on the grass. Unharmed, but incredibly bewildered, the human's heart races as the spider scurries back to the shadows. In this brief encounter between two worlds, one ancient and one modern, both were startled, but neither in a malicious way. So what we've just witnessed there, or described there, is not just a hypothetical interaction between spider and human, but something that does happen on a semi-regular basis, and not just with this spider as well. But we'll get to the interactions between humans and funnel webs a bit later. First off, let's have a look at males and females and how they interact. Male and female Sydney funnel web spiders, Atrax robustus, live strikingly different lives. Now, neither of them are, racing around anywhere, but their lives are drastically different. Females are the architects of hidden empires. They remain in their silk-lined burrows for decades, expanding, repairing them, and ambushing prey from the entrance. They can live anywhere up to 20 years or more if undisturbed. Males, by contrast, lead much shorter, far more perilous lives, as with most spiders. Upon reaching maturity, they only usually reach about 4 to 5 years of age. They then abandon their burrows and begin a desperate quest for a mate. And this is the dangerous bit for a male spider, is going looking for a female.
So suicide mission.
It can be, yes. Their wandering instinct makes them far more likely to encounter humans in the form of either being found in someone's shoe or coming into someone's house, or various different ways. And their venom is far more dangerous. While both sexes possess potent neurotoxins, the male's venom is up to 6 times more toxic to primates due to their high levels of a compound called atracotoxin or robustotoxin. Now, curiously, the venom has little effect on most mammals, such as dogs, cats, or rabbits. But in humans and other primates, it causes severe neurological symptoms. Evolution didn't make it to kill us. Our nervous system just happens to react in the worst possible way. And if you know anything about Australia's native fauna, there are no native primates to Australia.
No.
When this spider evolved, Aboriginal people hadn't even made it to Australia yet. So this toxin is just something that it evolved to be able to take down its prey with.
That's really interesting, coupled with the fact that it can bite through a fingernail. Though. It makes you wonder what they were actually...
Well, the fingernails, or the hard exoskeleton of various different invertebrates, is basically its main use.
But even then, you wouldn't think that some invertebrates were as hard as... Well, I suppose that's partially because all the muscle that we have underneath. But yeah.
But yes, they've got an incredibly potent toxin. The males have, like I say, much more toxin in them than the females do. It's much more potent than the females do, which makes them potentially more dangerous to humans. So, what's the range of the Sydney funnel web? Well, the Sydney funnel web, its name basically gives away where it lives. Eastern New South Wales, roughly within a 100-kilometre radius of Sydney, which is not a very big range for a spider.
No, it's literally... the city, its suburbs, and a little bit of the outskirts?
Pretty much, yeah. They're most common from the Central Coast through the Blue Mountains and down to the Illawarra Ranges. They thrive in moist forests, suburban gardens, and shaded gullies. Basically, anywhere the soil stays damp enough for their burrows to remain cool. So this species belongs to the family Atraciidae, which includes around 35 species of Australian funnel web spiders. Now, the word or the term funnel web gets used for a lot of different groups of spiders anyway, and it just describes the kind of web they make.
Yeah.
We have funnel webs in the UK, but they are not even closely related to these ones.
The one just up the road has made an absolutely stunning web into the side of a grassy bank up there.
Ah, cool.
It's really cool.
So some of the other members of Atraciidae include the northern tree funnel web spider, Hydronaceae formidabalis, and the Blue Mountain funnel web. My goodness, that took me ages to say. The Blue Mountain funnel web, Hydronaceae virsuta, and the southern tree funnel web, Hydronaceae severea.
Severea. It's interesting. That's kind of similar to
Cerberus. Could be.
So that's Latin.
You never know. You'll have to look that one up.
Latin, it's definitely Latin because the Greek name for Cerberus is Keveros.
Oh, well, there you go. So some of these cousins, particularly those in Queensland and northern New South Wales, are nearly as venomous as Atrax robustus. But Atrax robustus, much easier to say, though they are less frequently encountered. My tongue is very much tied this week. All of them serve a critical ecological role. They are apex invertebrate predators that keep insects and other small arthropod populations in check, basically a vital service in the forest ecosystem down on the ground. So how do they hunt? So we talked about the fact that these guys have an incredibly powerful bite, well, not bite so much, their fangs can pierce through the hard outer exoskeletons of invertebrates and also potentially through a human fingernail. But the Sydney funnel web does not hunt mammals. It doesn't really feature on its menu whatsoever, pets or people. Its diet is humble but efficient. Beetles, cockroaches, millipedes, slaters, crickets, pretty much any small invertebrate. Slaters would be woodlouse to you.
Yep.
Chiggy
pigs.
Chiggy pigs to you, yeah. And occasionally, if they're lucky, they'll get a small gecko or a frog or maybe even a small skink or something like that. But that's about as big as it gets. And vertebrate prey, that's a decent sized meal for a spider. Each spider constructs a silk-lined burrow, usually about 20 to 60 centimeters deep, with radiating silk trip lines at the entrance. Now, these strands act as a sophisticated vibration detection system. When an insect stumbles across that line, the insects give off a vibration, and the spider senses the frequency of the vibration and instantly is able to distinguish prey from predator and lunges forward with lightning speed if it is prey, which is then seized by its fangs, injected with venom, and dragged backwards into this silken chamber where digestive enzymes turn the inside of the tissue of the animal into a nutrient-rich broth, which is then supped up between the two chelicera where the fangs sit into basically a tiny little hole for a mouth.
Gecko smoothie.
Oh yeah, gotta love it.
High protein.
So this ambush hunting strategy allows the funnel web to conserve energy, striking out only when the odds are successful or near certain. In fact, they're so good at doing it, they can distinguish between raindrops hitting those tripwires compared to something walking over them, compared to something far too big for them to even take on. Something like a wombat walking past, would give off far too much vibration that would tell this spider, no, that's not prey. It's not a cockroach. They can also use that to work out, how close the animal is or how fast it's moving as well. And they need to do that for the simple reason, like I said before, they've got rubbish vision. Like most spiders like this, they don't have good vision at all. Very few spiders, with the exceptions of things like wolf spiders and jumping spiders, have decent enough vision to be visual hunters. They're all about vibration, these guys. A lot like tarantulas, and they're more closely related to tarantulas than they are to other groups of spiders. Yeah. So their venom. The venom of Atrax robustus is a complex blend of over 40 peptides. Think of this as the Colonel's secret herbs and spices that'll knock you down. And it's a complex blend of enzymes, proteins. Its 5-star ingredient, this atracytoxin, acts as a sodium ion channel blocker. And it basically blocks the nerve cells, forcing them open. And that causes, in humans at least, a catastrophic chain reaction in the nervous system, where the nerves fire uncontrollably, muscles spasm, and glands flood the body with saliva and sweat.
Just looking good.
Yeah. Symptoms in humans can begin within 15 minutes of a bite. Tingling around the mouth, difficulty breathing, extreme agitation. In severe cases, without treatment, death from a pulmonary edema, which is basically fluid in the lungs, can occur within hours. And between 1927 and 1980, 13 deaths were attributed to this spider, most of them from male spiders. And they're not something to be messed with. But in that, 50-year time span, 13 deaths. Not very many. And we'll get on to how that tots up against different things in a minute. So the end of the fatalities happened in 1981. because at that point, the Australian science struck back. Researchers at the Commonwealth Serum Laboratories, using venom collected from the Australian Reptile Park, produced the world's first funnel web spider antivenom. Now, this formula works by neutralizing the toxin peptides before they bind to your nerve receptors, forcing them open. It just basically stops the whole thing from happening. Since its introduction, not a single confirmed death has occurred from a Sydney funnel web bite.
Wow.
And that's the potency of science, doing science. And the last recorded fatality was in 1980 when a 7-year-old boy was bitten in Thornley, New South Wales. Today, even major hospitals in New South Wales and Queensland keep vials of antivenom on standby, especially during the summer breeding season. That's when the males go looking for a female and when they're most likely to be encountered by people.
Because you said that they spend most of their time in the burrow, don't they? And the females are always in their burrow.
Pretty much, yeah. So most of the time, unless you are accidentally disturbing them where they live, you're not going to see them. And even then, you're probably more likely to see them during the night, if you were to go out looking for them. Beyond life-saving, the venom's chemistry has opened up new doors in medicine as well. A peptide called HI1A, derived from the funnel web venom, has shown potential in protecting brain cells from oxygen deprivation, a promising treatment avenue for stroke and cardiac arrest patients.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember we've talked in the past to Steve Trim from Venom Tech? This is exactly that sort of life-saving research that's being done all over the world in various different venom labs and venom banks and things like that, where they are looking at the chemical makeup of these different venoms and seeing what we can learn from it, because it is life-changing. It's not just there to kill their prey with.
I think people would be surprised just how much venom features in their daily medicine.
Oh yeah.
And other like maybe not so daily medicines. But
it's a huge thing, and now a huge area of research.
Actually, even in cosmetics, there's venom in cosmetics.
Yeah. So, perspective, the real odds. Like I say, 13 people have died from
Never tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds. That was a rubbish 3PO.
3PO.
When did he become the squeaky voiced teen from The Simpsons? Hello, Mr. Solo. Anyway, back on a serious note, for all the notoriety for all the notoriety that the Sydney funnel web spider poses, it has virtually no fatality now of risk to most Australians today. Modern medicine, quick hospital access, and widespread anti-venom basically means that deaths from this species are a thing of the past. And because this is an animal that lives pretty much in and around Sydney, there's very little chance you're not going to be within range of a hospital, even if you have to be airlifted to one. The Australian medical system is pretty good. So by comparison, everyday mishaps are far more dangerous. And here's just some that basically could claim your life if you were living in Sydney today. In fact, could claim your life anywhere in the world. So causes of death of Australians per year. Road accidents, it's around 1,200 annually. And that's approximately a 1 in 8,000 odds of being killed by a road accident, which people get in cars every day. They don't even think about it,
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Drowning from beaches, pools, etc. It's around 250, and that's a 1 in 45,000 odds. Falling from furniture or stairs is 400 people a year. That's,
You shouldn't laugh though.
No, that's people falling out of bed as well. That's
wow. Yeah, but I imagine that's like elderly.
Well,
I'm imagining someone messing around on a sofa and then it goes horrendously wrong.
There's a 1 in 30,000 chance. Or as this one, because I had to look this up. And I had to include this just so I can make this point.
This is a surprising figure.
Tripping on your thongs. And that's thongs, the Australian, the proper version, which is sandals or flip-flops, however you want to put it. It's around 20 to 30 deaths a year. That's a 1 in 500,000 chance of dying via being tripping over your thongs, which as a cause of death is going to look interesting on the death certificate. Lightning strike, it's 2 to 3 a year, so that's a 1 in 5 million chance. Bee or wasp stings, 2. That's a 1 in 12 million chance. But Sydney funnel webs, it's 0 since 1981, so it's
virtually nil.
Virtually nil. It's almost non-existent. And these have all come from the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, and are between the periods of 2019 to 2024. And basically, those 20 to 30 deaths from tripping over your thongs happen in that time period, which that's alarming.
Wow.
Yeah, I should have done a creature feature on the danger of thongs.
That's crazy. In 5 years, up to 30 people died from
tripping on the thongs. Yeah,
bomb falling.
Yep. So that song, the thong song, that's got things to answer for. So statistically, you're 500,000 times more likely to die by tripping over your own thongs than from a funnel web spider, which is considerable. I mean, I own a pair. Do you?
I used to have a really nice pair, yeah.
Well, you've reduced your odds now, so you don't have them. Good. But practical ways. If you are living in the Sydney area, you're probably aware of this spider. And if you're living in Australia, you're probably aware of many other species of spider. But for those of you who've just decided to go there for whatever reason, some practical ways to keep yourself safe, basically.
My sister is currently in the Blue Mountains.
Oh, well, she may encounter one of these. So there you go. Well, for Erin's sister, if she's watching, store your shoes indoors, especially during summer and after rain. This is when the males are out on the move. And what some people do is they put them in a plastic tub, basically, because, they can't get in then.
Yeah.
And you can even then leave them outside because that plastic tub is sealed. Shake out your shoes before wearing them. This should just be a general thing anyway. Give them a good whack around to make sure that nothing has got in there without you knowing, if they've been left outside. Use insect screens on drains and vents to reduce entry points into the home, or an insect screen on your door. If you've got mozzies coming in, you don't want that anyway.
Yeah.
Wear gloves when gardening or lifting rocks and logs. And in fact, if you are gardening anywhere in Australia, the one thing I can remember being told is if you are lifting a log or a stone, always lift as if you're opening it up that way. Never open it up so it's open towards you, because if there is something underneath there and it is aggressive, it goes that way and you've got the rock or the log between you and it.
Yeah.
So and if you find one, don't kill it, just walk away. Be aware of where it is. And local collection programs like those run by the Australian Reptile Park will safely come and collect the spider and actually use the spider's venom to create more anti-venom. So if it is captured, it can actually help to keep people safe, really. So don't kill them, because they're incredibly valuable, not just to the environment, but also to keeping you alive as well.
Yeah.
So the next time a funnel web spider is found hiding in the garden or shoe, remember, it's not a monster. It's just a misplaced wanderer looking for love.
That is such a nicer way to frame that.
He's just out looking for love. And I did mention that even if he does manage to find the female, she may kill him anyway. So
unbelievable.
Yeah. Think of Romeo and Juliet, but not, because in this case, Juliet might kill and eat Romeo at the end.
Juliet, if Juliet knifes Romeo.
Yeah, there you go. It's a bit more of a weird, tragic love story. Anyway, should we head into our emails?
Yeah, let's do it.
Bing! You've got mail. Ooh, it's an email.
Right, well, we're into our
That threw me off.
emails for this week, and I've thrown him off already. Well, luckily for you, Aaron, you don't have to do any work on this bit. So last week's question was, give us your best, paleo or natural history memes. Actually, you do have to do some work, because you said you were going to put one up, and you never did. And it turns out we only had one anyway. So you're going to have to bulk this out a bit.
My lack of
faith is disturbing. Yes.
Not holding true to my word has inspired others to not get involved.
Indeed. Well, my other half has put one of the best memes, I think, is Clever Girl, which has to be used, with the obvious Raptor reference. So what have you gone for? You've had sufficient time to look.
The one I like is It's got a picture of a wolf and a chihuahua, and it says above the wolf it's like how movies depict Velociraptor.
Yeah.
And then above the chihuahua it says what Velociraptor was really big.
I mean, to be fair, a chihuahua's bloody scary.
Tiny little bitey thing.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
Yeah.
fitting. It is fitting.
Yeah, you can drop hunt a Velociraptor in real life more than you'd be able to do that for a movie one. I think you'd break your leg if you tried to drop punt one of them. Anyway, so that was last week's question, as wonderfully successful as that was. So this week's question, well, I've gone for an easy one. What's your favourite species of spider? Based on the fact that we're talking about the Sydney funnel web. Aaron, what's your favourite species of spider? I'm not allowing you to back out on this one now.
No, I like. I have a particular fondness for the radioactive spiders.
No, God.
No, my favorite is actually because it's my favorite fact to bring up in any spider talk that I've ever done. Is the actual tarantula, the wolf spider?
Oh yeah, the Lycosa tarantula.
Yeah, that's why I did the creature feature on it. It's because it probably is my favorite. I've grown really fond of. I mean, I've always liked them, but I've grown more fond of them in the last couple of years of just the house spiders that I have around the house. I actually find that like when you actually sit and watch them for a bit, yeah, they don't do much, but there's something about them that like they've got some sort of charisma going on. I can't quite put my finger on it, but yeah, they've got personality. But yeah, no, I think Lycosa tarantula is my favorite. And if we had gone further south into Italy on our van trip,
you stood a chance of seeing.
I would have liked to have gone across to the town to actually see if I could find some.
Yeah. I don't know what I'd pick as my individual favorite because there are so many spiders I've worked with and different species have all got their own attributes. You know, you got the ogre spiders, you've got the jumping spiders, house spiders. You know, they're amazing. False widows because people have got this weird irrational fear of them. Blind cave spiders and things like that. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with. Oh, I'm going to say zebra jumping spiders, because yet again, it's a native species of spider that we see quite often, and they're just those ones that they look at you, they acknowledge you, they see you, and almost almost a good chunk of the time they'll interact with you to an extent, and then I know there's a big sort of there's a big sort of what's the word? There's now a lot of people who are buying jumping spiders as pets. They become very, very popular as a pet based on mostly social media and things like that. And they are quite an interactive species of spider.
Jumping spider is one of my favorites, actually. I think we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago in one of the episodes, yeah.
But as one of the species that we get in the UK, the zebra jumping spider, it's a really pretty one. They're not the biggest, but they're really, really cool.
That's right, because it was on my work.
Yeah, you said
work, and I put the video up, didn't I?
Yeah.
On in the intro. Yeah.
They're a really cool spider.
You've also got like the peacock spider, which is very similar, but it does that thing with its abdomen. It looks cool. Yeah.
There's a multitude of spiders out there. So yeah, let us know what your favorite ones are, and we'll put that up it'll be on our Facebook page, but you can also let us know on our YouTube comments, and just anywhere and everywhere you want us to know about it.
Yeah.
And that brings us nicely to our emails for this week.
It does. We are slowly catching up, actually, which is good. But a pretty short email this week.
Just says hi.
It comes to us from Jen Greenhorse, one of our awesome Patreon supporters, who says, "Hello, my friend bought me this picture from DinoCon in summer. Just had it framed. Can't for the life of me remember what it is. Any thoughts?" But then she actually followed up with an answer.
Did you follow up with the picture?
Yes, the picture is behind us. It's Nanuqsaurus courtship display. I'm trying to,
which we have done in a previous Christmas episode.
You can see it yourself whilst I'm putting it up for.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So yeah, really, really cool.
Do we know who the artist is?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. The artist is.
You're saying it.
Yeah, the artist is, and please forgive me. I think pronounced Gail Gail Seguil Gail Seguilon, I think. If anybody knows, please correct me as always. But actually, if you go onto their website and look at their paleo art and stuff, it's all pretty amazing, to be honest. It's all like prehistoric planet. They've clearly done work for a lot of projects, which is just awesome. I mean, I love that. That's wicked. So yeah, check out their website. Yeah,
yeah.
So that's our email. We did actually have a Facebook message as well. This one comes to us from Kelsey Watts, who asks, "You know much about the Younger Dryas theory?" Which I know a little bit about because I'm a little bit morbidly fascinated by end extinction kind of stuff.
The name rings a bell, but I can't for the life of me think what it is.
So it's a theory that so I don't know a lot about it, but I know a little bit about it. The reason why I don't know a lot about it is because when this theory was kind of put forward, published, it was largely rejected by the scientific community.
Okay.
So I kind of put it to one side. So I've kind of read this question live.
Right.
I knew it came in.
It's a very short question.
It's a very short question, but the answer is quite long because since it was rejected, it's now not so much rejected as kind of put it in the corner of your brain and remember it, because actually there's some evidence that might suggest that there's something to it.
Well, I've definitely done that. I put it in the corner of my brain, but I have no idea what it is, and I can't for the life of me remember it.
So the theory is basically that about 12 to 13,000 years ago, I think it was, a asteroid impact created the global cooling, like the glacial period. And it obviously killed off a lot of species and stuff, including the Clovis people.
Right.
There is a lot of evidence against this theory. A lot of evidence against this theory.
With the lack of a meteor crater.
The lack of meteor crater, but they then counter argued that actually what they think has happened is the asteroid actually broke apart, like it was I can't remember what the actual term for it is, but it's when the asteroid blows up.
Yeah.
And so instead of getting one crater, what you get is a big cloud of micro meteorites or whatever hitting the planet, pockmarking the planet. Now the next argument against this, and it's probably the next two arguments against this are probably the two biggest ones against this, is when something like that happens, you tend to see that represented in the sediments of the earth.
Yep.
Things like coal would be noticeable from where areas of, like, for example, America would have burned and that kind of thing. There isn't anything like that, to my knowledge. Also, the other thing is the one of their arguments for it happening is that the Clovis people just disappeared without a trace. The counter argument to that is that's pretty standard practice for humans. When we decide to go extinct,
when we just disappear, we disappear.
Yeah, we're not like other species that just kind of like filters out, and that we just kind of disappear.
We're a fairly small lineage of creatures.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take much to lose the evidence.
You can look at it from the species perspective, like the Clovis people, but you can also look at it from like a civilization perspective, like the Mayans.
Yeah.
Like just overnight, gone.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mayans aren't really gone as such. We now know a lot more about them than we did. But what I'm trying to say is like that it's kind of standard practice for humans to just go and gone. So yeah, there's a lot I do know a little bit about it because it's a potential extinction event theory, but I don't know much about it because I kind of put it to one side mentally and thought I'll remember. Right now, I lean towards that. I don't think this theory is right, but
I'll give it time if it's proven.
because I think a little bit like Nanotyrannus,
it may come back.
yeah, maybe we'll find that there's something in the middle between it happening and it not happening. There's actually something in the middle that maybe it didn't happen, like it didn't have the scale of impact that they suggest it did, but there was something small that happened in between. So yeah, but it's really interesting. I definitely think it's worth like looking into like more. But yeah, I would also take it with
Well, there
a
you go.
pinch of salt.
That's your homework for this week, then.
Mm.
Do it.
Actually, on that note,
I want a full paper,
on
words,
the
single spaced.
lower Dryas theory. It's funny that you brought it up, actually, because I've not spoken to him about this, but we do some nature bites on the side, and the one that I recorded last week, which you guys won't see for a while, is actually on an end extinction event, because I want to do a series on end extinction.
Because you're really morbid.
Yeah, I don't know why it fascinates me. Maybe because it reminds me that people like Trump and Putin are completely impotent in the grander scheme of things.
True.
But yeah.
Oh well. Well, shall we move on and talk less doom and gloom and talk about our wonderful Patreons who bring us out of the doom and gloom?
Who are not mass extinction events.
Let's do that now.
Not weapons of mass destruction.
No.
Every week, we like to give a little love back by shouting out the names of our wonderful Patreon supporters.
That's right. These are the cupboard dwellers who are kind enough to support us through a monetary contribution, for which we are eternally grateful and grateful beyond words.
And those people are, of course, Fogtober, Jen Greenhall, Connie P, Chelsea McKee, Nick to Nick,
Owen Cox,
and Matt Geddy.
Guys, your financial contributions are actively helping us out here in the Natural History Cupboard in a myriad of ways, including developing our new studio, planning excursions and being able to go out and film on location, considering technical upgrades, and actually making the jump from a solely audio-based podcast to the now growing YouTube channel. And we really can't thank you enough for that.
Now, we appreciate all of our cupboard dwellers and the support you offer us through listening, liking, sharing, and subscribing. But if you feel we've earned it and you're considering joining our Patreon, there are two options through which you can do so.
That's the Nature Nerds and the Animal Ambassador tiers, which you can find on the Patreon website or links through our social media as well. And each one having different benefits for you to enjoy.
And now back to Gareth and Erin in the studio.
So a massive thank you to our Patreons there. We couldn't do what we do without you. And well, it's always great to see the fact that you're supporting us in the way that you do. And that pretty much brings us to the end of this week's episode. So big thank you, Erin.
But not an end extinction event.
No, I'm not going to thank you for that. And a big thank you to you at home for joining us. And we'll see you next time here in the Natural History Cupboard. Bye.
Bye.
So my joke this week.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Well, my wife said, "Look, there's a spider over there. Can you take it out?" So I did. We went out for a few drinks, nice meal. Turns out it's a really nice guy.